What's going on, y'all? THEBrandonBrownson here. I'm pretty sure that everyone has a reflecting spot. If you don't know what I mean a place that you go to just sit down and think. A place you go to relax. A place you go to be alone with just you and your thoughts. And I thought I'd show you where mine is in this video. Some people have an abandoned building that they might go to reflect. Some people might have a favorite tree in a forest. But my apartment complex is located right near a lake. And there's a spot where there's this tree that almost fell over, where I like to go and have a cigarette every now and again, and this morning just so happened to be my latest now and again. Last night wasn't one of my better nights. If you see my last few videos, you can probably tell that I have a lot on my mind, both with my public life that I share with all of you, as well as my private life that I only share with my closest friends. I'm not going to give you all the grim details, because I don't want to detract from the main point of this video, but I spent a large part of last night worrying about the big picture. Worrying that I wasn't good enough. Worrying about all of my friends and my family. I spend a lot of time worrying. As the sun started to rise, the worst parts of the night were over, but I still felt emotionally drained, and I was still thinking about everything with rather clouded judgment. And it turns out that I had spent the entire night worrying and beating myself up, and I decided that it was about time I paid a visit to my reflecting spot. As I walked there, lit cigarette in hand, I started to ponder a little bit less about everything else, and I wondered to myself, why do we all have a reflecting spot? What makes this particular spot so special compared to everywhere else? And I thought about that for a couple of minutes while I walked to my spot, and I just observed while I took drags of my Maverick Menthol 100. I noticed the drops of cold rain falling on my head. I noticed the sound coming from the road that was a short walk behind me. I noticed the geese flying by. I noticed the rippling of the water. I noticed how some of the trees were finally starting to bud. And I went back to my question of, what's so special about this spot? And I think I started to get some answers. Those answers got me thinking about a few bigger things. I think the reason that we all have a reflecting spot is because that's where we go to notice things. In my case, I go there and I observe beauty in things I don't really get to appreciate the beauty in, and it clears my head just enough to think about life a little bit better. My thoughts continued, and I started to think maybe, just maybe, if we focused on the little things more often, the big things wouldn't hit us as hard. How often do we really sit down and focus on these small yet wonderful facets of life? How often do we contemplate how gorgeous a rippling lake is, or how lovely it is to see the trees start to blossom after a cold winter, or how good the rain feels on our face? We go through a lot in life, and it's easy to get overwhelmed by the hustle and bustle of our jobs, or find ourselves drowning in a sea of our own depressions, or get lost in a labyrinth of worry and overlook all of these little wonders. But maybe our crosses would be easier to bear if we soaked in these miracles a little more often. TheBrandonBrownson, signing out.